Mr. Heavyweight Boxing today?
Hey, what's up, man? This is Chris, the Nightmare Ariola, and you're watching Mr. Boxing Today.
Heavyweight boxing fans, what's the deal? All right, so I just want to give my quick opinion about this fight. It's going to take place August 27th. It will be on the undercard of Miljan Rav-Kanan. He'll be taking on Jared Anderson. And also on that card, you got the super heavyweight silver medalist from 2020, Richard Torres, who's 2-0 right now with 2 stoppages. I will be doing videos on both of those fights, so be looking out for those videos. All right, now this fight right here, Efe Ajagba, he's back in the ring, taking on Jozsef Darmos. All right, now I had to do some research on the guy. He's a 6-foot Hungarian fighter. He's 37 years old. He has a few fights on YouTube, and he also has some amateur fights. If you guys are into those fights, the AIBA World Championships, he was in that tournament. So he has some amateur fights out there, and he has some pro fights. This guy he's fought at cruiserweight. I know his last fight last year, he fought for the NABF Bridgerweight title. So he's a smaller type of heavyweight as far as his height and his weight, about 6 foot, about 220. All right. Now breaking down this guy's style, man. Now, if you go and look at, let's say, his last fight that he had last year when he fought Alfonso Lopez, it was a stoppage loss, but it was due to a cut. He didn't get knocked out in that fight. It was due to a cut. All right. And they were going back and forth, slugging with each other. But if you watch that fight, in majority of Darmos fights, he fights with the high guard. He can't really fight going backwards. Once you push him backwards, he'll just throw up the high guard, and he tries to throw the left hook out of the high guard. Literally, that's what I've seen in every fight that I watched him fight. Well, most of them. I'm going to get to the other fight, but most of the fights. There was one fight that was completely different than all the other fights that I watched. All right, but majority of his fights, man, is just high guard, come forward. He'll let you get off a million punches. He wasn't moving his head offline, and he'll come out with a left hook, and he'll plod around the ring, walking in the shots. That's what I saw. However, there was one fight that he had. It was actually his 3rd fight with a guy named Tomas Toth. All right, that fight is here on YouTube. Now, in that fight, I'm not even BSing you, man. He was giving me like his best impression of Roy Jones Jr. His best punch is a hook, and he actually knocked the guy out with a nice, I know it was a left. I think he threw a right hand, then the left hook after that. But he was fighting with his hands down. He was fighting off the back foot. He was slipping, dodging punches with his hands down, snapping jabs from his hip, moving, circling. Now, you may say, hey, he was just able to do it against that level of opposition. But it was just funny researching this guy. All the fights are the same, even from the amateurs. And then I pull up this one other fight where he's fighting completely different. All right. But if he does the just straight high guard, try to walk down Ajagba, I think he's going to walk right into all the power punches, man. And I think Ajagba will see that left hook coming. The time that I seen Ajagba hurt or knocked down was him getting hit with right hands. Sanchez hit him right hand that dropped him, and Lago Kalazi hit him with a right hand that dropped him in the middle of an exchange. All right. Now, there are some guys who didn't drop him or beat him that did have some success and was making the fight tough for Ajagba. Guys like Rodney Hernandez. A guy, journeyman level type of guy, but he can move his head. He'll give you different looks. He'll throw in combinations. He'll hold, he'll grab, just different looks. Slipping, getting out of the way of punches, not there to be a punching bag, all right? Ali Demirezen is another guy that he's a much more polished version, but he kind of fights like Jozsef Darmos with the high guard, but he's letting his hands go, and he likes to work behind the jab. Lago Kalazi, like I said, in that fight, he had some success by knocking down Ajagba, throwing back when Ajagba's throwing in combination. He doesn't really move his head offline all that well when he's throwing his big power shots. He kind of stands straight up, stand tall, and he's there to get hit with counters. All right, and Sanchez showed you that. But there was other guys, like I said, man, like Demirezen that was showing you that as well. All right, but my prediction for this fight, I see Efe Ajagba coming back, getting a highlight reel knockout just based on the style. Because even if Darmos does choose to go backwards like he did in his 3rd fight against Tomas Toth, I just don't see him being able to take Ajagba shots. Whereas those other guys he was fighting some of those guys at cruiserweight, like I said, Bridgerweight. And I think the power is going to catch up. He seemed like a tough guy, man, but I think the power is going to catch up for getting hit so clean. All right. And I think once Ajagba starts pushing him back with his jab, I think that's going to spell some doom for him. And then when he starts crashing with that right hand left hook, all right, the only hope for Darmos is just to throw his favorite punch, that left hook, try to catch Ajagba standing tall, try to crouch under the jab and try to come up with a surprise left hook. But that fighting off the back foot like Roy that he did against Tomas Toad, I just don't think with the Jagba in front of him that he's going to be able to do that. Now, he may be able to move a little bit and frustrate him, but I don't think he has the firepower to put a hurting on a Jagba while he's moving. All right. But yeah, man, I'm going with the Jagba to win this fight. Now, after this fight, I looked at all the rankings. Jagba is no longer in any of the rankings that I've seen today, currently on Boxing Scene. So if he does win this fight, if he wants to get another one of these type of fights, but who would you guys like to see him fight? Whether it's right after this or if he gets another fight set up in a couple months, leading into the first quarter of next year, who would you guys like to see him fight? To me, some guys right on top of my head, Otto Wallen, Michael Hunter, any of those type of guys, man. Jermaine Franklin, Stephen Shaw, anybody like that. Even Lucas Brown just got a victory over Junior Fox, surprise knockout. Maybe get Lucas Brown over here just for a name, you know, until Ajagba can work his way up and get into the rankings again and try to get some type of elimination about one of the sanction bodies, man. But just want to get my quick opinion about this fight. Let me know what you think in the comment section. I'm gone.